Good morning, everyone. This is Charalambos Pissouros, Senior Analyst at IronFX, bringing you the morning comment for the 16th of June. The Bank of England kept its policy unchanged yesterday, as was widely anticipated. However, policymakers delivered a hawkish twist, as the vote to remain on hold was 5-3, much tighter than the forecast of 7-1. Monetary Policy Committee members McCafferty and Sanders joined Forbes in calling for a rate hike, sending the message that a potential tightening move may be closer than markets previously expected. The result was a stronger pound. Euro sterling slid following the surprise in the Bank of England's votes. The pair fell below the support now turned into resistance zone of 0.8775 to stop slightly above the 0.87 line, where a dip could extend the tumble towards the 0.8640 territory. Nevertheless, given that the price structure still suggests an uptrend, we would treat such a setback as a corrective phase before the bulls decide to take the reins again. The minutes of the meeting showed that these descents are probably owed to the higher inflation prints recently. Policymakers noted that inflation could exceed 3% by the autumn, suggesting that inflation overshoot could be more pronounced than previously thought, which reduces their tolerance of above target inflation. Despite the tighter vote, we do not expect the Bank of England to actually hike rates anytime soon. This was Forbes' last meeting as a Monetary Policy Committee member, implying that the hawkish camp in the Bank of England is likely to get smaller, unless her replacement is someone with very similar views. What's more, above-target inflation is temporary, as the Bank of England reminds us in every inflation report recently, and the overshoot entirely reflects the effects of the falls in sterling. It would be strange to raise rates in order to combat temporary effects, especially since a hike could weigh on employment and growth in a period of elevated political uncertainty. Moving forward, we think that pound traders will quickly turn their attention back to developments in the political spectrum. Specifically, we think that next week market focus will be on the Queen's speech on Wednesday and subsequently on when the Brexit negotiations will commence. Now, moving to Japan, the Bank of Japan kept its QQE with yield curve control framework untouched today via 7-2 vote. The meeting statement contained no surprises, with the most noteworthy point being that policymakers are now more optimistic on private consumption. Importantly, the bank provided absolutely no signals regarding a QE exit, as has been suggested by some media reports recently. In fact, as long as inflation remains stuck near 0%, we don't expect any such announcement from the Bank of Japan. Even though policymakers could provide a plan on how QQE with yield curve control may eventually be removed, we think any such plan will be accompanied by strong signals that this is not going to happen anytime soon. Now, as for the yen, given that longer-term Japanese government bond yields remain capped near 0% by the Bank of Japan, we continue to expect the movements in yen crosses to be decided primarily by their counterparts, and not so much by the yen. The exception to that would be periods when risk sentiment dominates market moves, as the yen is considered a safe haven asset. Dollar yen surged yesterday, breaking above the crossroad of the 110.30 barrier and the downtrend line taken from the peak of the 10th of May. Then the pair emerged above the 110.80 zone to stop near 111.25. In our view, yesterday's rally has turned the short-term outlook to positive, and as such we expect a move above 111.25 to open the way for our next resistance of 111.70. Nevertheless, we would stay mindful of a corrective setback for now, given that the latest rally appears overextended. Now, as for today's highlights, during the European day, we have a relatively quiet calendar day. From Eurozone, we get the final CPI for May, but as the final figure is expected to confirm the preliminary estimate, the reaction in the euro is likely to be limited. From the US, we get building permits and housing starts both for May. These figures are expected to have risen somewhat. We also get the nation's preliminary University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index for June, which is expected to have remained unchanged. We have only one speaker on the agenda, Dallas Fed President Robert Kaplan. For more information, please read the full comment on IronFX.com or download our app and get all the information you need to trade. Also, you can follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, or circle us on Google Plus to get more trading ideas. This is Charalambos Pissouros, Senior Analyst at IronFX, wishing you solid trading.